Hi, welcome to this episode podcast, The Coaches Next Door. And my name is Ligia, and Ligia Koijen Ramos, as maybe you already know. And I'm a philosopher, and I'm a master coach with focus on human potential. I like to call it like that. And today is a special moment for this podcast, or at least for me. We are doing this live for a while, and as happens to anyone, we change. And we sometimes realize that, wow, this is not exactly how I want to do it, or this is not exactly, the way I want to do it. So I want to start saying that we are going to have some changes around here. And we are going to continue, of course, our podcast, The Coaches Next Door. But we will do it in a recording mode. So you are going to still get your episodes now, probably every week. But we will transfer part of our, more interaction, more disconnection with you to our platform on WhatsApp. So in our private group, it's still for free. You can join us, and there is where I will share, more this weekly, sometimes even can be something that comes and I feel, okay, this is interesting to share. So I will use that platform to be a little bit closer and to reply sometimes to your questions. So it's a little bit more personal and a little bit also more intimate. But the Coaches Next Door will continue. You still can get your episodes on the normal platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, so everywhere still will be available. So nothing to worry about. Everything is going to continue a little bit in your side the same way, so you can reach out to this content. Today I decided to bring exactly the topic of addiction. And I want to talk about this because I think we are addicted to a lot of things sometimes without recognizing, without really understanding that we are addicted. For just, yeah, sometimes we are addicted of continue doing things that don't provide us what was the first intention of when we started. Sometimes we are even addicted to a person, we are addicted to a way of living sometimes. So I'm not only talking here about addictions that, yeah, of course, are damaging our health, are damaging even sometimes, our relationships, and in a more drastic way. Even if I think, to be honest, that any addiction is damaging, because we are going to have one moment that addiction will not serve, right? So that means that we are doing something that is under a reaction and not the best thing that we could be doing. For instance, okay, being addicted to coffee until a certain level is not even considered maybe an addiction for a lot of people, right? But it is, because, for instance, if you don't drink coffee, you already feel some symptoms. And some people get a little bit, fuzzy. Some people get headaches. So that means that, yes, it's an addiction there. But But if you drink, I don't know, two, maybe three coffees per day, for me personally, will be already a lot. But if you drink that, most part of the times you will not feel that that is really bad for you. Okay, we know some studies that even show that one coffee per day is super healthy because, and even some medicines have caffeine. So, you know, but is going to probably have you have a moment in your life that being dependent on that to feel okay is not going to serve you. Imagine a moment, I don't know, that you don't have coffee around, or a place that you don't have coffee around, or even a moment that you need to, do an exam and you cannot have food or drinks for some hours. So, is addiction as that thing, right? Is one moment in our lives that is going to fail us, even if in tendency we don't see that as a bad thing. Okay. But I want to bring addiction also with this perspective that, so first of all, what is an addiction? Second of all, what is really the truth about addiction? Because I also think that a lot of times people are wanting to, go out of an addiction, whatever the addiction is, and they feel like, okay, this is not possible, and why this is not possible, and where they are putting the focus for the change. Yeah, so I want to lose this addiction, and I'm looking for where I'm starting that change. And that's very important, right? Because the way we are starting that change and the point where we will start that change will most probably be connected with the result that we get from that change. So, um, one of the things is that addiction has, as most part of the times, a very negative um, understanding or a very negative meaning, right? Because of that dependency, because we recognize that we cannot go without. And at the same time, one of the difficulties is that talking about that we have an addiction and putting it like this makes us most part of the times also to feel highly uncomfortable, because it's also the connection that people that have addictions are weaker. People that are depending on something, they are weak people. Okay. But the truth is that most part of the times we have, all of us, some addictions. And of course, some of them are very impactful. Some of them will be even socially, accepted. Some of them will be even seen as, quality. What is interesting, right? I can give you, today was interesting because I was doing my training, and I was talking with my personal trainer, Donar, and we have great conversations. And we were talking about that because we were talking about how suddenly something that is an addiction can become seen by others as a quality. And we both share one that is by being good listeners. Okay, so we were saying that, we're saying, wow, but why we are good listeners, right? So it's because we realize that, more or less both of us, that we are addicted to support other people. And so that becomes not anymore, sometimes not a decision, but a reaction. Okay, so almost like I need to help this person, instead of, oh, okay, I want to help this person or to support this person. So, and that comes sometimes as even a appreciation moment, like, oh, you are a super good listener. And it's like, okay, yeah, but I don't want to be always that. And always, of course, is between commas. But I don't want that everyone sees me always between commas doing that. Okay, because sometimes I will not be a good listener, of course. But most part of the times people come with that as a compliment. Yeah. So sometimes an addiction can easily be seen even by other people as a good thing, as something that I'm going to give a compliment about. So it's super interesting how is the same quality of, so it's an addiction still, but how the spectrum is so big that suddenly doesn't, is not even seen by other people as an addiction. So what is an addiction? An addiction, okay? An addiction, super easy, is a dependency. It's like, if this is not there, I will feel pain. I will feel disconnected. I will feel lost. So that is also a lot of times what we can see that addiction creates. Incredible, right? So we have an addiction because we want to go away from pain. And pain here, of course, the word is a little bit strong, but we want to go away from uncomfortable moments. We want to go away from things that hurt us in some way. And we want to connect, and we want to belong. And suddenly, when we have an addiction, um, this is exactly what we have back. We have, again, we have pain, we have disconnection, and we have loss. So can cost us relationship, can cost us lives. Okay, but the thing is that, like you can already probably see or hear better, addiction is a strategy. Yeah. So addiction is not the root of whatever. We don't do addiction for addiction, just like I said, but also we don't stop addiction to stop addiction. Okay, so addiction is a strategy, and let's say a coping mechanism, a coping mechanism to deal with that pain, that disconnection or connection, and with that not belonging, put it this way. So, addiction is a signal, not the cause, like you can imagine. So, everyone that has an addiction is not is not, let's say, just doing the addiction for the addiction. That's very important. And then I think is also realizing that, okay, if addiction is not the problem, addiction is just a symptom of the problem, and we go for addiction to cope with that problem, what is the problem? Okay, and most part of the times I can say that addiction is this unprocessed pain, unprocessed disconnection, and unprocessed how can I say this, belonging or not belonging. So people feel lost, okay, or lost. And addiction is basically the moment of our lives that we feel so overwhelmed that we want to find basically anything that could help us to cross that, to deal with that. And why I don't want to say, the first word that came to me was numb, to numb that, but not always addiction brings that numbness. Sometimes being, for instance, action, like people that are addicted to do. They cannot rest, they cannot stop, they cannot just be by themselves alone, for instance. Um, so the thing is that I not necessarily numbness, in the sense that we understand that the person is not feeling it. Sometimes the person is feeling it, but is wanting to basically go away from that feeling, and so can be, in that sense, will be still, covering a little bit the feeling and not letting the feeling to be expressed fully. Okay, I incredible. And because I don't want to keep the conversation on the physical or the substance addiction, for instance. I don't want to keep the conversation there. I want to bring the conversation to addictions that most part of the times we use, but we are not aware that they are addictions, and they are still doing that. They are still putting a cover under, above something that we don't want to feel, or we don't want to be there. So I discovered one addiction for me, and I always had it, of course, but I always sat, or a lot of times I sat, that I was not addicted to anything. When people say, "Oh, what is your addiction?" or "What do you really cannot go without?" I go like, "Oh, I don't have that." Uh, what is particularly a little bit of a arrogant way of saying it, but for some years I said it, is the truth. I said it, and one time I realized that I had one profound addiction. Okay, one profound addiction, and that was, and still is, cleaning. Cleaning. So every time that things get messy, or emotionally messy, not even physically messy, emotionally messy, mentally messy, I will start this routine of cleaning. And could be big things, like, I don't know, the full house. Could be small things, like cleaning, a piece of wood, in very detailed way. Um, so I realized that that was my way of dealing with mess, and was my way of, okay, let's refocus again. Let's. Uh, I have my one of my best friends. She says, "Wow, the number of times that you use the word organize." And it's about that, right? So when I have emotional mass or mental mass, when I clean physically, I go and I clean. Okay, physically, I'm saying, um, I have this moment to organize, and I organize my thoughts, and my emotions also get the place. So I'm looking for organization, okay, to organize things again. And I realized that that was me basically running away from mess, for things getting messy. And I really don't like it. But I used it as a strategy that, even again, was many times used as a compliment. I was using it to escape whatever the mess was bringing. Yeah, whatever the confusion was bringing. And I didn't want it to deal with that, because felt chaotic, felt disorganized, felt and out of control. So I realized that not being able to be, in that mess for a while, was not giving me potential. So that escaping was not the answer, because guess what? The next time the mess will be bigger, because the mess is still necessary, right? And not wanting to deal with that emotional messy, with that, thinking messy, or mess, was not also not opening the door for new things to, to come. Was not I was not even allowing the mass to unfold, and I was not even allowing that becomes even more messy, and a mass brings another mass, and a mass brings another mass. So, and then what that mass what the chaos will bring, I was not allowing that. And that for me was uh, a big thing, because not only I realized that, but then the question was, wow, how I stop doing this, because I could find myself, in the middle of the night, waking up with still like, oh, I need to clean that and I need to clean that, because I was not doing it anymore. So I wanted to cut, that habit, because that is what it is, right? I could not go without. So the thing is, the we can really get ourselves in this. We could really be, so intertwined that we cannot really check in and saying, okay, why I'm using this. And I can give you a lot of examples. For instance, people that addicted to sugar, and then they go to do yoga, and oh, I'm addicted to social media. Oh no, I need to heal. I need to meditate. I need to, go for a retreat to let go of my phone. Substance shifts, like the the what I do is different, but the pattern stays. So, okay, and now I cannot run away from, for instance, my busy life, from scrolling in social media. I'm going to run from my busy life in a retreat, I don't know where, or in a 2 hours meditation. I touched some points here, right? So I even, for instance, if you want another example, was a moment in my life. I stopped meditating for 3 years, because I really felt, okay, if I go right now to this, I will get addicted to this escape from life. Every time that I feel overwhelmed, oh, I go and meditate. What is that all about? Why? How are you using meditation? Right? So sometimes we need to really recognize that we tend to use a lot of things to escape, a lot of things to, put a little bit of a filter under moments that are uncomfortable, and things that are uncomfortable, and moments that brings us pain. Yeah. So what can we be doing? What can we bring to our awareness, and how to deal with that? And the first thing is to realize that why I'm doing this by reaction, or I'm doing this by decision. I'm doing this by automatic pilot. This is where I go when something in my life is happening, or I'm doing this by a clear, effective choice, and I'm doing this because not to escape, but maybe to amplify even the problem that I'm in. Um, so the first question is why I'm doing this, why I'm doing this behavior, and I'm doing this or this behavior is doing me. That's also a nice question, right? Is me doing the behavior or is the behavior that is bringing, something to me, if you know what I mean? So, and what will happen if I stop? How that will be for me, not for other people, not for, the world, for me. If I stop right now doing this, what this will mean for me. And that is when maybe you can start feeling the uncomfortable moment. That's where you can sometimes even feel it like, oh, this is unbearable. Me not doing this is unbearable. Hurts not to do it. Um, and that that you are operating from this addiction. Then that you are doing it to serve you in that sense, yeah. um, because it's more uncomfortable not to do that than doing it, and what that means for you, what means that pain, what means the pain of not doing it, and then you start most probably recognizing what you are escaping from, what are you running away from, yeah. And the main thing here is that we don't want to fix it, because guess what, if the addiction is a strategy, it's super easy to think about, okay, now I'm not doing this, I'm doing this. So you're trying to fix this addiction, right? The strategy. But you are not able to do so without, if you are trying to fix it, you will enter another addiction. So, and again, of course, I'm not saying that all the addictions could hurt you, but and I'm not also trying to say that you can go around without any addictions, but realizing them, because sometimes I say, okay, great, now you stopped sugar or whatever, but now you need to go to yoga 5 times per week, and if you don't go, you freak out, you know dependency again. So, of course, we will always have dependencies from people, from things, from situations, but being aware of them is the main thing, right? And realizing, okay, I will stretch myself to, almost like what is the spectrum of this dependency? Can I go without 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, or not even 5 minutes? So it's giving yourself a little bit more freedom in that sense, and realizing, okay, I want to be able to, not go to the gym or to yoga 3 days and still feel okay. So that's okay. So it's not the main secret, let's say, of dealing with addictions is not trying to fix the strategy, is to really get awareness of where is the pain, what connection I'm looking for, what is missing here. And it's not about fixing or replacing the strategy. It's about realizing what this means for me. What is the meaning that this gets for me? And when I'm there, what do I want to do with that? Yeah. So the main thing that sometimes I see is people trying to fix the strategy. That will never work. because it's like that. A strategy will be replaced by another strategy and will suddenly become again another dependency. So we want to realize what is the thing that is still here, that is not, that is unbearable, that is creating a lot of pain, and how can I stay a little bit longer in that, to see what evolves, to see what happens, to see, sometimes to gain that experience, like, oh, in the end was nothing so bad. And now, for instance, when I get this mass and I don't know exactly what is happening, I go like, it's not so bad, we'll pass. I know that it will pass, and it will pass without me doing anything. Will pass by the context, will pass because tomorrow I'm also maybe doing something different, or feeling different, or sleeping better, or whatever. So sometimes it's this realization that, yeah, now that I have a different experience of being in that chaos, I can tell that it's nothing for me to control anymore. So it's okay, I don't need an extra strategy for that. Makes sense what I'm saying? So the main thing is that, when we are dealing with this, I think, we need to ask ourselves, and going back to my story of the cleaning, is that what are you cleaning exactly? you know if you are going to yoga, what are you really stretching? What are you, or if you go for meditation, what are you really numbing? What are you escaping from? Why suddenly you want to go to a different place, right, in yourself even? So is sometimes good enough, these questions. And I'm not saying that you need to be in there for days and weeks, but one question, and stay there for today 1 minute, and then tomorrow will be 2 minutes, and then 3 minutes, and suddenly you go like, oh, I can be without, and I'm still okay, you know. Um, and if you have more substance addictions, then I will say, see what substance we are talking about, of course, and never replace the strategy, or start by thinking about why you're doing it, put another strategy, choose one that is more healthy, because you need to start there. Okay. So it's a process. Don't try to fix the strategy. Try not do, like, okay, I don't know, I'm addicted to whatever you consider bad. I consider cigarettes bad, tobacco. So if you have tobacco, I'm going to replace that by a breath exercise, or um, that's what is coming to my mind. So I'm going, instead of smoking, I'm going to do just a breath exercise, like I'm smoking, and replace that the maximum that you can, because if you don't replace the strategy with substance addiction, the body can be your enemy. So, and then start looking, okay, but why I do this? What is exactly the profound need for me to do this? And ask one day, and the second day, and the third day, and face the uncomfortable moment of one day deciding, I'm not going to do this again. And that needs that decision. All the people that I know with substance addiction, was one day they really took that decision, and they never went back, because it needs to be that decision. But I need to know why I'm taking that decision, and I need to know what I was hiding with the addiction or the substance or the dependency. I need to know that. Okay. So this is what I wanted to say to you, because I think these days we are facing a lot of these discoveries that we are so addicted to things that we find even healthy, and they are not. Emotionally, they are not. They operate exactly the same way that a common addiction. They prevent us to deal with what is really there. So be aware, how are you using all the things that you have in your life, things that sometimes even people can appreciate it. Oh wow, you go to meditation, you are so zen, and you go like, yeah, I am, but what is the price for that? We are not made to be zen all the time. Just saying. So if you feel like this resonates with you, go deeper, go deeper, take that moment of courage and go deeper, because you're probably going to find out that many things you are using to escape, many things you are using to not deal with whatever is there, and it's okay. But I think it's important that you get that awareness. Okay, thank you so much for being with me in this last live from the podcast. Like I said, the podcast is going to be still in all the platforms, but now in the form of recording. I will be changing my most intimate connection to my WhatsApp group, so that you can join. I will put the link so you can join there. It's not going to be spam or things like that. It's really, this kind of moments that I will share a little bit more. Of course, you can also join the newsletter, when I go also a little bit more in depth on some topics, because I want also to give a little bit more of myself to these interactions. I want to, tell more examples, more personal stories, and I think that will be the best way to do this. So take care of yourself. Enjoy the summer for the ones in the hemisphere, and take care of yourselves again. And we continue reaching out to each other. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Take care and have a great weekend.